Not only is Christ sovereign over every square inch, he's sovereign over every split second. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. One of my all-time favorite quotes comes from Abraham Kuyper, and it was repeated over and over by Chuck Colson. There's not a single square inch in the whole domain of human existence over which Christ, who is sovereign over all, does not cry out, "Mine." Now, working out the implications of that grand truth in the reality of our everyday lives, well, that would take a lifetime. As Christians, we often acknowledge Christ's rule over things like human dignity, marriage, maybe even our finances, but we often miss how central a Christian view of time is to a truly Christian worldview. Thus, we find our time hijacked, assumed, taken for granted, killed, wasted, even forgotten. Well, Guinness thinks it's time to change our view of time. His new book, Carpe Diem Redeemed, Seizing the Day, Discerning the Times, explores and explains how different views of time shape our culture and our individual lives. For example, Eastern religions embrace a cyclical view of time. All that is, once was, and will be over again. In this conception, history runs kind of like a wheel, forever returning to the same point. Even we, in a sense, will return, according to this view, reincarnated according to the dictates of karma. The cyclical view ultimately robs our lives of meaning because our choices change nothing. Time and everything in it are illusions. Salvation consists of escaping the cycle, and along with it, every love, longing, and purpose we know as human beings. The chronological view of time is the one that dominates our culture, according to Guinness, and it's held by both optimist and pessimist. Enlightenment thinkers, and even many secularists today, see time as that inevitable upward march toward greater knowledge, greater peace, greater civilization. We started as apes, but we're on our way to becoming gods. Well, after 2 world wars, the Holocaust, communism, and Islamic terrorism, chronological optimists are more rare than they used to be. More common, especially in pop culture, are chronological pessimists. They, to quote Shakespeare, view time and history as a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. For chronological pessimists, all that's left is to seize the day in that Dave Matthews and Dead Poets Society sort of way. In other words, just live it up while we can, for tomorrow we die. What so many Christians miss is just how revolutionary the Judeo-Christian view of time is, over and against these other views. Guinness calls it a covenantal understanding of time, the view that the structure and purpose of history have been revealed by a God who stands outside of it, having created it. Genesis' opening line, "In the beginning God," frames this view, and the rest of Scripture points to a grand purpose which is being wrought by our Creator in partnership with His image bearers. The covenantal view of time is the unique contribution of the Judeo-Christian worldview. History's goal is neither utopian fantasy nor nihilistic despair. Even history's darkest evils cannot thwart that for which time was instituted. And we, as humans, have a part to play. Our actions matter. Human enterprise has significance and solidity, Guinness writes. Under and alongside God, history is transformed from terror into task. Grasping this view of time allows us to live what Guinness calls prophetically untimely lives, precisely because we know how the story ends. But Guinness also goes beyond the heady theories to offer practical ideas on how to rightly seize the day, how to break out of our slavery to the clock, to know how to work and to rest and to worship in light of this Christian understanding of time. Well, you can request a copy of Redeeming Carpe Diem, Seizing the Day, Discerning the Times, with your next donation to the Colson Center. You can hear more about it directly from Os Guinness himself on a free Colson Center webinar tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. Just come to breakpoint.org to register. If the time doesn't work, you still want to register in order to get a recording of this session with Os Guinness. Again, come to breakpoint.org to register. For Breakpoint, I'm John Stonestreet.